Welcome to the Daily Grind. I'm Mark. I got Luke with me. What's going on, man?
Not much. Just not much. I sound like I went through puberty there for a second. I promise I've gone through puberty. Promise.
At least once.
At least once. I mean, shit. Who knows? Maybe twice. I don't know.
This is our first show back from the weekend. You and I both got caught up with work yesterday. Lucky for us, the Grizzlies had a game last night. So we got that talk coming up on the show today. Possibly Brandon Clark return tomorrow, maybe. And of course, Tubing Tuesdays at the end of the show, as always. Let's start off with last night's game. The Grizzlies went to Denver, lost 128-103. Never was really a game, in either of our opinion. But you were the one that you wrote about this game. So why don't you start your thoughts on the game last night?
So I'm going to start with the thing that I didn't like first, because you can't shoot the three ball like that and expect to win a game. You honestly can't shoot the ball that bad in general, I would argue. But I mean, we were under 40% from the field, 25% from three. That's just the only person that was good from three was Scottie Pippen Jr. I don't know. In an offense that seems designed to be around shooting the three ball. You just had, and I know I get it. There are nights when shots aren't falling, but good God, nobody could make anything last night. Like, no, I mean, who we had, Jake was 0 of 7, GG was 2 of 8, Jaren was 1 of 7. So between those three dudes, that's what math. That's 20 something, 23. God, I'm just what's 14 plus 8?
Math is hard. Math is hard. I was gonna help you, but then I decided to let you struggle. So
it's like 4 at 22. It's not good.
It's not the answer is not good. That's the answer.
Yeah. It's a bummer, because, and granted, you're playing in Denver. I get it's hard to play there. I was talking to some people yesterday. I think it takes like a day and a half to get acclimated to the atmosphere up there because of the air. Because it being higher, like, I get it. I get there to the defending championship. I get it. I get all that. I wanted to see them shoot the ball better.
Yeah.
Like it was tough for me to get many positives. I thought Lamar Stevens was good, but it's just when there are so many shots that are just miss. It's just tough. It's tough for me to. You don't deserve to win a game if you're missing that many shots.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jaren was really struggling last night. To start from the start from the game. Again, that's anytime you ask Jaren to guard. Really, if you ask anybody to guard Jokic, it's just a tough guard. I mean, he's so physical, and he's good everywhere on the court. His vision is as good as a guard is. Like it's a very tall task to begin with, really. Like, yes. When you start there, and then when Jaren starts as bad as he did, no one really was in a rhythm at all, really.
You couldn't get it. It never happened.
It was like they were like down 15 in the middle of the first quarter or something like that. Like it was like 6-0, like within a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Like it was tough. And so I think once you see that kind of happen, I think if you turned it off, I don't blame you. Like, right. Like I had it on, but I was like doing some other stuff. I was playing Fortnite and I was doing other stuff while I was like watching it at the same time. So like, I get it. It's just difficult. Like you said, shooting that bad when it's an offense that's seemingly predicated on and making a lot of 3-pointers. 11 for 44 is terrible.
Really bad.
You have three guys off the bench, or everybody off the bench, two 3-pointers off the bench. 3 guys off the bench go 0 for whatever it was. Trey Jefferson didn't take one, but Jake Larrabee has 0 for 7. I mean, 2 3-pointers off the bench. Your bench scoring was what? Like you said, 2 for whatever. I mean, it's just not great.
1 of 12 were the guys that saw bench minutes from deep. 1 of 12. Yeah.
So I mean, it's when you start that way against the best team in the league and some of the best players in the league, you gotta get what you got.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's one of those things where it's like you dug this hole. You dug your grave, you got to lay in it. If you get that far down that early, it's like against the defending champs, they're gonna smack you in the mouth. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
And deservedly so, right? Like, I mean, if you're the Nuggets, you don't want to. If you're a Nugget Denver fan, like you don't want to look up and be struggling with the Grizzlies this year, right? Like,
No.
if you expect what you got last night.
Yeah, well,
So,
they did it too. Like we went on a run, I think, and we would get it within 15. 15, I think, was within striking distance for us. And as soon as that happened, they were like, they handled business.
Like I said, they did exactly what you would expect a defending champion to do. I mean, that are in the hunt again. Jokic with 29, 8, and 11. I mean, it's easy money. He probably should have had a triple double. He probably should have had a triple double. You know what I mean? Like,
but he didn't play the fourth. Like they pulled him in the middle of the third. He would have had a triple double if
that's what I'm saying. He should have had one, right? He should have finished with 35, 15, and 11 or something like that.
Easy.
Like, yeah. I don't know what else to say. Desmond Bane looked like a guy who has not played in a long time. He looked like a guy who hasn't played in several months and came back and struggled against people who are much better.
You know who came back and didn't struggle, though? I shouted him. Lamar Stevens, man. Like, the dude is doing everything he can to earn a spot on this roster. He was 6 of 10 from the field, 7 of 7 from the line. Like, I
agree with you. I mean, obviously, he was clearly the best player on the court for the Grizzlies.
Best player.
Which, says something about your team when Lamar Stevens is the best player on the court for you sometimes.
Coming back from a groin injury.
But he continues to impress, right? Like Keith mentioned. I mean, he's impressive every time I kind of see him on the court. He does a lot of the little things, and that midi is clean. I mean, it's I still am up in the air on whether he's going to find a position or a spot on this roster. Again, I think that we've talked about this before, only because of the just kind of like just the way everything's laid out, right? Not necessarily because of him, but it's because of the other factors around the team and kind of where they're at and kind of how they pigeonhole themselves. And I don't see them cutting, Jake LaRavia and Zaire Williams to put Lamar Stevens on the team. And so that's kind of where he's at. I do think he'll be on a roster next year for sure. I don't know if it'll be on the Grizzlies.
Well, I mean, as is, he's competing for like the 10th spot in this rotation. He could easily be getting more than that on another team. I think if anything, he's proving that he's worth 20 minutes a game somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, again, even if it's not the 10th spot, a guy like that, having a guy like that on your bench, even as your 11, 12, 13 guy, just on the bench, to have. As we've seen this year, injuries are always going to occur at any point for any team. You look at Minnesota, right? Like they are struggling right now with injuries. Every team is going to go through the period in the year. It's just too long of a season. It's too hard on the players' bodies. Like that's a different discussion for a different day if what the season is entirely too long. But like injuries are going to happen. And it's how you deal with them, how much depth you have, and if you can get through those spells and get to the playoffs. And largely in the playoffs, injuries play a huge part in this sometimes. I mean, you see a lot of teams that, probably should have won championships were an injured player away. And we've seen it with the Grizzlies have injured players as well back in the core 4 days. So like that's going to happen. So I think even if Lamar Stevens is your 11th to 12th, 13th guy on the bench, I mean, having someone like that on your roster, I think would be hugely beneficial, right? Whether he's willing to take that spot, I don't know. Like you mentioned, could he be getting real minutes somewhere else? Probably. Like there's a lot of bad teams in the league, like a lot of shitty players. So probably, I think so.
Man, I think injuries are going to happen, like you were saying. I think it's a testament to you find out what your depth is made of, like you're talking about, and you also find out what your coaching's made of. People, we're pro Jenkins on this show, but like so many people are not pro Jenkins, and what he's doing with what he's got is pretty darn good, impressive if you were to ask me. And it's like, I don't know. I think he deserves a shout out as well. Like for much as these guys that are ready to step in when injuries happen. The coach who's deploying them the way that he is also, I think, deserves a little bit of a shout out too.
100%. I mean, if you aren't pro Jenkins, I get that, but I'll give you a little stat that you should turn your way around. They're 11th in the league in defense. They're 11th in the league in defensive rating right now, and they have had 43 different starting lineups. They've had 30 players on the roster. I mean, that's 11th in the league with largely piecemeal pieces. I mean, it's just to think about
2 ways in 10 days.
Exactly. You have 11th defensive rating, and that's held up throughout the entire year. Was lower at some points in the year, but that's held up the entire year. As bad as this team is, as much volatility as this team has seen, that should give you every kind of confidence in the world on Taylor Jenkins' his ability to get this team ready to play at a defensive level. Now, their offense is 30th, but again, you're missing all the offense you should have, right? Your Desmond Baines and your Marcus Smarts and your John Morant's, like that's 60,
your Luke Kennard.
Yeah, that can be 60 or 70 points right there. We just kind of add up in 3 players, and it's like, the offense will come back when the players come back. But the defense, to be able to do that with, like you said, deploying the players at the right times, being able to do that it's impressive. Like I saw it the other day, and I just kind of like that. I did not realize it was still that high. It's been a while since I've checked, just because when we do our previews anymore, we don't really look at that kind of stuff because the matchups are really largely we're hoping for losses at this point. So like,
it doesn't matter anymore.
our previews have changed over the year largely because of that. So we don't look at it as much as I used to on every single game. And I'm thoroughly impressed. Impressed with Taylor Jenkins so far this year. But back to last night, still impressed with Scottie Pippen Jr. I mean, dude, he was probably the second best player on the team last night.
No doubt. And it seems like people are saying there's no need to rush signing him either, man. Keep him on this 2-way and let the dude cook. Like, I love it. I love it. It's a really good business decision.
Well, he'll be back next year on the 2-way. I mean, the deal he has is through next year. So he's not going anywhere. But yeah, he's a perfect 2-way person, right? Like, should he be starting in the league? Absolutely not. But should he be on a 2-way ready again? In case of injuries, in case you need a backup point guard, in case the idea of when you have John Morant, the idea of Desmond Bain or maybe even Gigi Jackson next year of the kind of your backup point. If that doesn't work, you can have someone you can slide over and really kind of put in some relief minutes as an actual point guard. And so I thought he was really good. He continues to impress me as well.
His shot is good too, man. Like he's consistently had he's found his shot all season, in a season where we've looked for guys to create their own shot, to also create for others. Like he checks both those boxes. He's just, I mean, go figure, right? Your dad's Scottie Pippen. Of course you're going to be good at basketball.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always the case, there's a lot of guys who aren't, but the guys who are, it's impressive. Was the best shooter on the floor last night. Like you mentioned, it's 5 for 9 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. I mean, again, he'll get his opportunity. I'm glad to have him. I think obviously better than Baby Gilliard. I love Jacob. It was a good floor general, but just was never gonna overcome the size. Was never gonna happen in the league. So to have someone like Scottie Pippen Jr. on a 2-way as a point guard, I think is something you obviously definitely have to have. So let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about Brandon Clark. Maybe come back tomorrow. Maybe we'll see Brandon Clark after almost a full year at this point being out. So that'll be interesting to see. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. Right. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, but now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side. Yeah. His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward. Right. Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But What's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, like he's David Jones. Like outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? Like, I mean, he's facilitating the ball well. I mean, what do you, like, I don't.
2 at 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner 3 from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up, and then literally within the first 15 seconds missed a wide open layup, and then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well, I
think we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy. And we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind right here on Bluff City Media YouTube every single day. 1 o'clock, we're talking Grizzlies. So make sure you can join us. Subscribe to the YouTube page and help us out. We really appreciate it. Brandon Clark showed up as doubtful.
Yeah.
Yesterday. We were all very excited. I know.
I know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Typically with the Grizzlies, though, they do a doubtful for a day, typically, and they do a questionable the next game. And that questionable is just like, they're probably going to play, but we're just going to see. Make sure nothing weird happens, right, when you get out on the court. That's typically how they do it. So, yeah, I haven't seen the injury report for the next game.
I was going to ask. I don't know if they put it up. I mean, I think it's a softball to let him play. It's a home game. It's the last home game you have before you go on the road again. Like, it just makes sense, like let him play. Test drive him, see how he's feeling. If he's up for it, send him on the road trip. Obviously, don't start him. I mean, I don't think he starts tomorrow.
No.
I know people are like, him at the 5. It's like, yeah, maybe not tomorrow, though. Like, ease him in.
Yeah, it's the injury report's not out yet, but it should be out soon. It usually comes out probably about 2 o'clock the day before, typically. Yeah. Maybe a little before. But it's not out yet, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to start. I wouldn't expect him to get big minutes. I'd expect him to get a nice rollout. The Grizzlies, they play the Lakers tomorrow at home. Yeah. And so it'd be I think it's a good game to get him back in, right? Again, get him out there, get him running around, just in a real game situation, right? Nothing too crazy, right? I don't think you give him maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you play him more than 20. I mean, I think you have him be your first guy off the bench. I think that would give them a pop, like give them what they need, pull Santi, pull Jaren, put him in. I think that gives them a pretty gets a little electricity going in the building, which they will need against the Lakers. That's what I would do, but
yeah. Well, I think, like you mentioned, no more than 20. You're talking about guys coming back from Achilles injury. I think the reality is you just want to see him what he looks like in a real game. That's really what it boils down to, right? You want to see what it looks like in a real game, running at a real pace, kind of exploding like you would normally explode in a real game, going up and down the court, jumping up and down. Like I know that it's hard you can do all of the drills you want to do. You can play all the 5-on-5 you want to do, but it's really difficult to simulate that real NBA game action when you're going against guys who are going at their 100% as well, right? It's not your teammates who know you're a year removed from Achilles injury. You maybe slow it down for you a bit, right? Like, and it's not a video of us see that Brandon Clark's dunking, right? It's very different than that.
Yes, I mean, and I think I also see Vince. I wouldn't be surprised if we get Vince tomorrow too, and that's also somebody that can handle the ball and has handled the ball with Brandon before. You know, like I think, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of options for them to safely see what he has in him tomorrow. I would be shocked if they don't play him tomorrow, honestly.
Yeah. Again, we haven't seen Vince Williams in a hot minute as well.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Vince and Brandon Clark. I mean, you know, if you might see the full complement of players out there. If Desmond Bain plays, you know, I think you get a little bit more of a semblance of, I think that's what really all you want to see is as a fan, right? You just want to see somewhat of a semblance of a roster, like what it might be like next year. Just a little bit of a taste, just a little bit of a preview. And I think that's all you're going to get. I mean, I obviously don't expect Marcus Smart to be back at all. But I do expect, you know, Clark to play at least 3 or 4 of these last few games.
Man, you could close out tomorrow. What day is it? You could close out, assuming everybody's healthy. You get Dez, you get Jaron, you get Vince, you get BC, and you get Gigi. I mean, you just test drive them, see if you can close out a game with that. You know, 2 of those guys won't be in.
That's also the other point is like you want to see like what we talked about before. You want to see what Gigi looks like with these other guys. You want to see what Vince looks like with some more complement of your like more of your main roster. Like that's I love. You know, that's what the other goal is. You kind of want to see what they look like all together.
Yes.
See where the pieces start to fit. So yeah, I'm not sure what's up with Luke Kennard. He's still out for personal reasons. I have no idea what he's been out.
Did he have a baby? Did I make that up?
I don't know. I mean, I figured
not him personally, but like him and his wife.
I figured we would probably know.
Yeah.
Like the team would have announced that, right? I think the team would have said, congratulations to Luke Kennard, he's had a baby. And this is probably something different. I don't know what it is, but he's just not with the team. So
yeah.
But anyway, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with our last segment, Tubing Tuesdays. We'll talk about what we're watching right now. Get our thoughts on what you guys are watching, and we'll be right back.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now I might not like it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man to say, this is how we think we're gonna play you. Bang, 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 and hopefully everybody understand. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game.
Right.
All of us, to the last person on the bench, you got an ego, but all of us can't be the man.
Yeah.
You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it and now I'm not getting the result from you, now we got to sit down and have another conversation. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping his logo.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So it's fine. Cool.
Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Daily Grind. We are talking Tubing Tuesdays right here on the show. Something we do every Tuesday. We talk about what we're watching. Talk about what you're watching. So if you got a show that you are watching that you love, shout out. Let us know in the comments. We're going to talk about what we watch, what we like, what we finished this week, or we started, what we don't like. Luke, Where are you at? Last time we talked about this, we were watching Love Is Blind.
Over that now. Over it. Now
right.
I'm back in it. I'm back. So in preparation for a new Hulu release movie coming out, Prime, I don't know who released it. It's a little movie called Roadhouse. In preparation for that movie, I watched what is one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time, Roadhouse, the first one. Watched it twice in 24 hours because it's so good. And I didn't get around to watching the new one. I just watched the old one twice. It's one of my favorites. I was reminded why it's one of my favorites because it's absurd. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense if you want your plot to be loosey goosey.
If you don't like plots, and you didn't like a lot of fighting with no real character development, this one's for you.
With Patrick Swayze, sweaty Patrick Swayze. I'm a Swayze guy, man. Ghost is dope. Dirty Dancing is dope. I like Swayze. Gone Too Soon.
I love Dirty Dancing.
Dirty Dancing's a good movie. It's a great movie. Yeah, and I was reminded they don't make them like they used to either. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know if you can make. I've heard the new Roadhouse isn't great, and it bums me out. I might not watch it now. Yeah, see, shout out King Meeks and the trash. I've heard it's trash too, man. I don't want to watch it. I'm bummed because I love the old Roadhouse.
But it's one of those things you got to watch it.
I'm going to
yourself.
Yeah,
I've also heard it was really bad, mostly because Conor McGregor. It was pretty bad. But
it sucks because that character in the old one's the best. The Jimmy Reno, the guy that says I used to blank guys like you in prison, which is the coolest. It's the scariest line I've ever heard in a movie ever.
Yeah, I've heard the new Roadhouse is not great, but I think it's one of those like again, like you said, I think the movies like Roadhouse are always good to exist and have. Like, I think people shit on those kind of movies, but like, oh, it's like there's no real plot, there's, like I said, no real character development, and it's just like a bunch of dudes beating people up. Like, but like those movies are just fun sometimes, right? Like, it's just fun to have no real, just to have be entertained, right? I don't have to feel anything really. Like, if I don't want to, like, I can just be entertained and have fun. And I think that's what movies are about sometimes. So I totally agree with you. Those movies have to exist.
We're film guys. You're a film. That's your job is film production. Like, we're film people. I don't need to go see another movie about a sad family and how poor they are and how one died, and then I feel like I got kicked in the balls because I'm so sad. Sometimes I just want to watch a sweaty dude do Tai Chi shirtless and beat the crap out of other sweaty guys, and with the hottest neurosurgeon ever. I've never seen a doctor as hot as Kelly Lynch. What is that? Like, I don't. That's not real. Yeah. That's not real.
King Mace is talking about that show, the new John movie. Seen a movie with Ricky Stenicki. It looks funny. It looks. I have not seen it yet. But it does look funny. I will watch it because it reminds me from the little parts that I've seen here and there. On social media, it looks like reminds me of more of a 2000s kind of more of a Judd Apatow type of film, which I am a huge fan of. And they just you mentioned they can't make those type of movies anymore. I don't feel like it's hard to, I think. And so like they really knocked it out of I think they knocked it out of the park from all things. It seems like a very not very deep movie. It's just a very it just, I don't know. It seems like a very on the surface kind of comedy, not like any, just kind of rash humor or brash humor.
Face value humor.
Exactly. Right. Like just like fart jokes and stuff like that, which is funny.
Which I love. I love fart jokes.
Funny, but let's see. Last week I left off watching Manhunt.
I know how it ended. I Googled it.
Yeah. Still watching the show because they release episodes every week. So that will be an ongoing show. I did sit down and try to watch Napoleon with Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
I am like I said before, I'm a big fan of historical movies, so I was really excited about Napoleon. And I love Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott's dope.
Love usually every movie is. I got 45 minutes of that movie, and I had to turn it off to go watch or go get my daughters from school.
Oh, I was like,
don't ever do because I don't like to turn movies. I like to watch them all the way through. Like, and I will say this: I have not had a good reason to go back to it.
Oh no.
It was it's not disappointing. It was just very, very, very slow.
Was it just him in exile wherever was he exiled?
It was
Not
just,
considered?
look, it's Joaquin Phoenix being Joaquin Phoenix in a drama, and that's great, I guess.
He's good.
It was super slow. There wasn't a whole lot of like reason for me to care about some of the characters at that point, and it didn't really make me care enough. Again, I only saw the movie because I had to give my daughters. I wouldn't normally have done that. I would have watched all the way through and just done whatever. But I stopped, and I've had yet to no reason to go back to it. I've been like, oh man, I gotta go get it. I gotta go finish it, and I've not felt really keen on doing. I will probably do it because I don't like to leave movies unfinished, but I have not been keen on going back and watching it again, which is sad because I was really excited about this movie. But I can also see why it didn't get any award nominations.
Yeah, it kind of got forgotten. I was going to ask, on a scale of 1 to Muggsy Bogues, how short was Napoleon in the movie?
You can't tell. I mean,
damn it! I was hoping they were going to do some Hobbit stuff and have them like
they did make the joke several times about how how he looked different in person, I guess, with people and stuff. So that was funny. There were a couple shots, but it was not part of the plot. Maybe it would have been. Maybe I liked it more. I don't know. But,
like a Judd Apatow Napoleon comedy. I'd watch the hell out of that.
Look, I love Joaquin Phoenix. He's a great actor. But
he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's
I
awesome.
Think that they did a disservice in the character itself. I know there was a lot of. And if you know anything about Napoleon Bonaparte, he spent a lot of his life doing a lot of nothing. The first part of his life, before he started conquering things, he didn't really do anything. He was living his life, right? And so they spent a lot of time on. They spent a lot of time on that, right, and not a lot of time on the conquering aspect, which is kind of the more, I would say, interesting part of his life, right? So, but I digress. That's what I watched. It was okay-ish. But Manhunt's still great. The show's still great. You should go watch it if you haven't watched it already.
Would you watch a Roadhouse Napoleon mashup style where like Napoleon was the cooler and they brought him in to clean house?
Look, I watch Fast and the Furious, so I'll pretty much watch anything.
I stopped at. What's your favorite Fast and the Furious?
I mean, I'm probably still sucking for like the first or second one, just because those are the OGs. But my wife makes fun of me because it's one of the movies I'll still watch them, even though at this point I feel like I've committed to Fast and Furious 8 and 9, whatever. I have to at this point. I don't enjoy it, but I do have to watch it because I have to finish what I started. So
yeah, it's like breakfast. I love Tokyo Drift. Shout out Tokyo Drift. That movie I love it. I love to just turn the volume on really loud. If once I've watched it, I'll throw it on at a party sometimes, just be like, hey, background music. When I'm tired and ready to Irish goodbye, I'll just turn the volume on as loud as it'll go and then just leave. So people are left with it's just awful. It's awful. And no one stops it. They think someone's still watching it. And so they're talking over each other. And meanwhile, Tokyo Drift is just playing.
Shout out Daniel Greer in the comments. WWE Raw. I'm not a wrestling guy. I don't watch wrestling.
I love wrestling.
Oh, I've watched wrestling since I was 12. Since I watched WCW, probably. Shout out WCW.
Yeah. Shout out WCW.
I grew up with it, but I never got back into it as an adult. There are a lot of people who love it though. So
my mom was in a Lamaze class with Sting and his wife.
Which one? The singer or wrestler?
Whoa, it's the wrestler, but can you imagine a Lamaze class with both Stings in it? That'd be crazy.
Yeah. All right, that's gonna be it for our show today, guys. We appreciate you guys sticking around. The Rock is back, according to Daniel. I think he means Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I am assuming this is not the movie. Assume that's what he's talking about. But yeah, we appreciate you guys joining us today. Thanks for stopping by and being with us on this Tuesday, talking Grizzlies, talking a little TV as well. And we will be back tomorrow, probably talking more about the Lakers game itself, previewing that, which, by the way, Daniel did leave us a comment and said that LeBron is sitting tonight in Milwaukee. Hopefully he'll be able to play tomorrow against Memphis because they got a back-to-back. So a little side
segment tomorrow as well that you don't know about. Mwah.
New segment tomorrow as well. I'm excited. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. We will see you guys then.